Alrighty, for all of us die-hard Richard Hart Maxine mongers, I will start by saying Richard Hart tokens are my biggest holdings right now by quite a margin. I've said this many times before. I think that they will do very, very well and potentially be even the story of this next bull cycle. Many folks in this ecosystem like a good hype video exclaiming why these tokens are going to see hundreds, if not thousands of X's during this cycle and blow all others out of the water. I'm not saying this won't happen. I'm even saying that if you are watching this video and haven't yet secured a position within this ecosystem, then you're probably going to miss out on one of the wildest rides in crypto that could take us to outer space. However, I am also saying that it's very dangerous to live in a bubble solely. We live in pinnacle times where crypto is seeing a monumental shift in narrative and scope, with the emergence of a number of giant key sectors coming to fruition around the same time and synergizing in certain areas. Areas like AI and DeFi, tech, all creating new opportunities that we simply can't afford to close ourselves off to. Now, I know for some of you diehard warriors out there, this is going to be something you may resent me for saying, and only really want content speaking about RH tokens and news. There are other channels that do a great job in this realm, and I love many of the influencers in our space who are hyper focused here. There's justification for being so in such an ecosystem that is bursting at the seams with potential. But in my VC and investing experience, though, a greater network effect is always created in penetrating new areas, in new conversations, rather than being in a silo. That's just my take and how I see a greater awareness footprint for anything. And what I want is ultimately a greater footprint and awareness for any ecosystem that I am in order to motivate more adoption and ultimately more price movement, right? It just makes sense. Now, for those that know too that I'm an opportunist when it comes to my portfolio and those of my private group. And so positioning where I see the most value and opportunity is, of course, key. This is the very reason that I'm heavily involved in the Richard Hart ecosystem and tokens. I see true hard value and opportunity. I also see opportunity in other sectors. Now, some folks, you've probably heard it before, they like to hide behind a single quote from one of the world's most successful investors. Warren Buffett famously said, "Diversification is protection against ignorance. It makes little sense if you know what you're doing." Now, hear me out. We are not Warren Buffett. We don't have his wisdom, his knowledge, or his hordes of analysts and market moving capital. We are, for all intended purposes, ignorant. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but we can't compare ourselves to Warren Buffett. If you disagree with me on this, then you are absolutely delusional. Now, why am I saying all this? Because I want you to understand that diversification is extremely important in crypto investing. This industry is crazy. Products can disappear at the blink of an eye. We've all saw it. Remember what happened to projects like Luna. Now, of course, this is a balancing act between prioritizing your projects of most conviction while remaining open-minded to learn and take positions in other potential projects. I'm not for 1 second suggesting you open the floodgates to 1,000,001 lottery ticket meme coins. I see floods of these recommended on Twitter, and there is a reason why I don't promote them or suggest them in my private group. I like to think of myself and my group as investors. We are not gamblers. We take positions that we believe ultimately will position us very favorably for this next cycle to come and cycles thereafter, and get involved in true value projects. So having all your eggs in a single basket is in most cases a reckless approach and a recipe for disaster, as much as I want to see my bags pumped in certain ecosystems, and that will naturally happen as we see more adoption anyway. I can't in good conscience recommend anyone stay completely siloed in one particular sector, one particular project, one particular coin. It just doesn't make sense as the landscape that's emerging comes to fruition, in my view. Here's what I think you should do instead. Look to find a few projects that you find superior. Then create your portfolio around them. Now, this is way easier to do if you're even just starting out, because you can find out, do your own due diligence and all of that good stuff, and make sure that you're finding projects that you like the look of, that you think has both shorter term and long term potential if possible, brings a lot of value to its space, its sector, and you ultimately see big price appreciation ahead. This just makes sense. Then adopt proper risk management, especially if you're playing with your entire net worth, as many people seem to do because they simply haven't made any large amounts of money anywhere else. And coming from someone who has probably a lot more experience than most in the investment sector, whether it be stocks, real estate, crypto, businesses, right now, crypto is the biggest opportunity. So you're starting in the best place. Then you ride the cycles with patience and conviction to reap those rewards you initially foresaw and not get distracted, as I like to call those micro market moments. Have faith. Then you make the money. Most people don't achieve this because they've failed in one of these things. Lastly, protect the money that you've made by preparing your off-ramping, your tax situation, your banking solutions, jurisdictions in advance. This is what we're focused on. There are some fundamental rules to adhere to in the crypto space that often new folks don't realize because they get sucked into certain bubbles that put them into a silo. Before you know it, all your social media channels are an echo chamber of the same information and the same messages over and over again. I'm sure many of you are seeing this right now, regardless. So, regardless of what communities you are ultra bullish about, I would always advise gaining exposure to other potentially great sectors also, especially at a time where so many opportunities are coming to fruition. You can still love the projects that you are in. You can lean very heavily into them, but you don't want to leave opportunities on the table that are there for the taking. And you run a real risk of not even being aware of those if you stay in your bubble only. As always, please do, if you found this remotely useful, like and subscribe. It's helping the channel out. I love seeing the comments and ideas, any tokens or projects that you're excited about. I do look at them and I try to give some feedback wherever I can. Until then, I will catch you on the next one. Thanks a lot, guys.